just start this show normally. This is a special occasion. I'm Michael Manring, and usually I play the theme music here, but this is the 200th episode of What Drives Us. That's right, 200 episodes of the best alt car podcast ever. So a big congratulations to everyone at What Drives Us, and a really big thank you to you for listening. Okay, let's rock.
Hey everybody, welcome to What Drives Us episode 200 for October 5th, 2016.
200!
Yay!
We're just getting started.
Yay! We did this 200 times. Does that mean we're almost stupid or that we're really, really smart? Maybe both.
We'll figure it out one of these times, I'm sure of it.
And how much times per show have we all made from this?
Oh, I mean, I'm rolling in it. Look at me. I have so much stuff. It's in boxes
gold
behind
records.
me.
I mean,
Don't forget the news that when they announced that we all get a new Tesla Model X for being such good regular members of the chat.
I was going to tell you about the email from Elon at the end of the show, but since you brought it up, you get a Tesla, you get a Tesla, you get a Tesla. Everybody, look under your seats. There's a key to a new Tesla.
How many of those gold records are from What Drives Us? I forget.
Three.
Well,
Yeah, just three.
You just ruined it for me. I was going to give everyone a free coda, but if everyone's getting
you'd
it
have to
done,
pay us to take a coda.
Oh, that's so painful. So painful. Well, I want to start by saying thank you very much to my dear friend and wonderful human being and Michael Manring for doing another special intro for us. He did one for us 5 years ago on our first anniversary, and I asked him again, and he was kind enough to do it. So cheers to him.
Yeah. Awesome.
That was neat.
That was you?
That was cool.
Oh, that was cool. Thank you. Evan, I think you're on your computer mic.
Am I?
No, you're not. Okay, you sound better now. Somebody sounded...
That was Patrick that was talking.
Patrick.
Is that Patrick?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, there we go. Oh, I see. You got the flip up thing. So, not only is this not, we have a special thing from Michael Manring. We have episode 200. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. Look at him down there. Where is he? The man who's my co-host, who's
I'm a runner.
Allegedly.
Danny Cooper.
Inside joke there. Hey, everybody. Good to be back. Thanks for having me. I am not asleep at 9:05 p.m. on the East Coast, which is amazing. So glad to be here.
Look at the tired eyes on Cooper already.
Yeah. It's happening.
He's gonna be. If I had pushed his. Yeah. Oh no! Go ahead.
I'm gonna have to do the caffeine in one and beer in the other. Just to
I don't know that you qualify as still as a new dad.
Well, yeah, third time around new. Does that count?
Yeah, maybe.
That coming from Tony Schaefer, who would know all about those things.
Oh, we had
yeah.
to go there. We had to go there. Well, and as well, I wanted to introduce the other co-host who sits in when Danny's not here. None other than Mr. Tony Schaefer.
So does that mean I can go home?
Yeah, you're done. You
Boy,
clock out, dude.
I
You're
am
done. You're
home.
done.
Yeah, I don't know. So I'm just stoked to be here for episode 200. I mean, that's awesome. This is, I'd have to add them up, but I think I've probably been on at least 150.
Oh God, yes.
That's really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I in fact, I was trading emails back and forth with Michael about doing the intro, and he was like asking me little facts about the show, like something he could say. And I'm like, well, here's an interesting tidbit that you probably won't use, but there's only two people who've been on every show, and that's me and Michael.
At least recorded.
Yeah, at least recorded. But yeah, I mean, nonetheless, he makes an appearance in some form. Let's see, who else do we have with us? Not only taking his usual summer off for golf or saving the world or God knows what. I mean, we miss him dearly while he's here, but he is our news and social media man. Mr. Patrick Connor is back. Welcome him back.
Hello, I'm glad to be back for number 200. It's going to be a lot of fun. And since I always do my little Oregon tidbit, here's one. Oregon schools are not being attacked by clowns.
When we do episode 300, nobody's going to have any idea why that's funny.
You mean yes?
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it's been going around the country on social media, and that schools are being attacked by clowns. And we got an email from my daughter's school today saying that this is just a rumor on social media. Don't worry about it. And I just cracked up.
Attacked by clowns. That phrase alone
Right.
Yes.
is the best. And yeah, I could speculate for the reasons why.
They're all ganging up for Halloween.
It'd be like a mass clown event.
It'll be a mass clown event.
An MCE, a mass clown event.
Wow.
Well, the person coming in one car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The gentleman who just summoned forth the apocalypse by opening the seventh seal by mentioning it. Let's welcome him, our man in Boulder, Mr. Paul Guzik.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. Maybe 200 times. Well, not really, but feels like 200 sometimes. But and my sponsor tonight is the Odell Brewing Company from Fort Collins, Colorado, with a beer called 90 Shilling, which supposedly is the name 90 Shilling comes from the Scottish method of taxing beer. Only the highest quality beers were taxed at 90 shillings. So I guess it's good stuff. It's an ale.
90 shillings worth.
I don't know if it's worth 90 shillings. It's not my favorite, but I'll drink it.
There you go.
It's not crap.
It's not Scottish, it's crap. Exactly. Thank you, Patrick. Speaking of, well, no, we're not going to go there. At one time, I'm kind of at a loss for words because words just don't describe this individual adequately. So I'm just going to introduce him by his name. It's Dr. Evan Fusco.
Hello, everyone. So good to be here. I have not been on 150 episodes, but maybe 100-ish, give or take. I don't know. I should count them up. All right, my sponsor tonight. Can you see that? New Belgian made a Creek Lambic-ish something. I don't know if it's a true Lambic or not, but it's reasonably tasty. So, nice
That's another Colorado beer.
Is it sour?
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a tad sour, but again, it's not. It doesn't seem to have that same sourness and texture that you get out of the more traditional Lambic. So I don't know. It may be a rapid brew version of a Lambic, but it's nice.
Was that Longmont? Is that in Longmont? Is that where that is?
Fort Collins.
Fort Collins. Okay.
Up the road.
Yeah.
And you're actually drinking a beer you didn't yourself make.
Well, yeah, you gotta experiment and find what you like. I'd love to do Lambic sometime, but they're apparently really difficult and expensive.
Oh. Well, speaking of difficult, finally, our man in Canada, he is now in charge of not one, but two very important social media, well, not social media, but organizations. I'll let him mention his new one because he's sporting a fine shirt, which, by the way, where's mine? Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 200th episode. And congratulations to the panel for 200 episodes. That's spectacular. Good job.
It's like we planned it that way.
Yeah, exactly. So, just wanted to say hello to the Waterloo Regional Voltec Group and the Waterloo Region EV Association. So that's another name that we have that our group is trying to be a little bit more inclusive and welcome all EV drivers to the mix.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. I totally approve of the new name. I think it's good. Or I should say the expanded organization.
Expanded names, yes.
Yeah, not new. Not new.
So do your new responsibilities come with increased pay?
Yeah.
Increased time.
Just like this show.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Just like everybody's getting a raise after show 200.
That's right. That's right.
You're gonna double our pay.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm here.
Well, let's start off the night. I'm worried about keeping Danny awake. Is there anything like? Yeah. Every time I click on him, he's kind of like
a Red Bull.
Kind of fading, and
it's too bad there's not a large black phallic thing in front of him to keep his interest up.
Yeah. If only.
We don't need the listeners into the private pre-show.
Yeah. We used to do that. If you were an old listener to the show, you know we used to have B-roll at the beginning of the show that had all sorts of little insights into what happened when the show wasn't on the air. Now we just be ourselves on the air.
Now you see us being our little angels, like we always
our
are.
lawyers advised that we
Absolutely. Always on topic, always on point. And speaking of that, I'm going to let Tony introduce this next thing because it's something that he did, and it's very cool. And we're going to chat about it for a few minutes and then go into the news. So, Tony.
All right. Well, so I went ahead and put together a timeline because I was thinking 200 episodes. How do you put 200 episodes into context? And what I did is I went back and I looked in, January of 2010, we recorded our very first episode. And if you go to whatdrives.us and you go to our very first episode, you'll see that it's aptly titled Our Very First Episode. So, I mean, right there, you could tell we were on point from the very beginning.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
We did have a terrible
about that title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We did have a terrible logo for that first show, though.
Did we? I don't even remember.
Oh, it was awful.
All
it
right.
was awful.
Well, interestingly, and I did go back a little bit in time, but the cool part is that 6 months prior to our first episode in June of 2009, GM discontinued the Hummer. So that like ushered in the era of what drives us. And to put things into context. So this is why I did this, to put things into context in terms of timelines. In April of 2010, just a few months after our very first episode, Steve Jobs introduced the iPad. I mean, so think about it now. There's been how many different models of the iPad? And we are just slightly older than the iPad. We are also 6 months older than Tesla as far as the stock exchange, because in June of 2010, Tesla had the very first initial public offering.
And had you bought that stock in June of 2010, you'd be kind of happy right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Patrick, shut up.
He's doing the happy dance.
Happy dance. Somebody did.
Yeah. Patrick's like, I'm very happy about that.
What would have been better was buying it at its low, which was like $14.70 or something like that.
Yeah, because you would have saved $15 or something. I mean, yeah.
Half price.
I think the thing on here, Tony, that I hope you mentioned, that in August of 2010, Honda introduced the incredibly game-changing CRZ hybrid.
The Prius Killer, yes.
The Prius Killer, yeah.
If I can skip ahead,
this
year, the CRZ was discontinued.
Gen 2 Insight.
Yeah.
What was the famous quote from that Honda wanted to make it for dads that want a mod? Is that what it was?
Yeah, tuners.
Yeah, tuners.
And I don't, something like that. They were going to hit this older demographic with the CRZ.
It was the hot rod hybrid, which turned out wasn't a very good hot rod, and it wasn't a very good hybrid.
No.
But they did sell 12 of them.
Yeah.
Well, our own listener Lee Moon has one, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And it's like, it is an outstanding looking vehicle, and there are certainly people like Lee who can hypermile the shit out of them. You know, I mean, they get really good performance, but in general, it just it wasn't super competitive.
Right.
Yeah. But 2010 was actually an interesting year because that's when we had the 2010, which was the 3rd gen Prius, the introduction of the CRZ. We already said Tesla's IPO. The Volt Gen 1 was released and the Leaf was released in 2010. So in the grand scheme of, alt fuel EVs, 2010 was a big year.
That's why we did this show.
That's why we did the show in January, because we knew what was coming.
Yeah.
Ahead of the curve.
We're that good. So we had our 50th episode in February of 2011, and the guest of that show was none other than Mr. Doug Coleman from Toyota Motor Sales.
Yay, Doug!
Yeah.
And of course, later that year was the huge earthquake and tsunami in Japan that certainly put Toyota kind of back on its heels for the better part of a year.
Yeah, I think that was to sort of punish Doug for being on the show.
The gods were not happy. You will not go on that show again. And oddly enough, well, he came on one more time, didn't he? And he hasn't come on since.
He will probably not come back after that. That was the Mariah show.
After Chelsea sort of beat his boy Logan down hard.
Yeah.
I got
left Japan just hours before the quake and tsunami hit.
You were?
My car, my car left just hours before that.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's see. Also in 2011, well, we had our friend Justin Wages on the show. He was on the show a few times. He is another one who hasn't come back of his own.
Our lawyers are having some problems with Justin.
Yes,
let me put that in context. Yeah, there's some issue there that they can't work out. So.
First time we get some eye candy on the show, and he won't come back.
I know, right? So we had the plug-in Prius, the CT200H, the Prius V, the Focus EV, and the iMeave, all introduced in 2011. Going back there, Patrick joined us in January of 2012.
Yay! Yeah. Did the Canadian just boo me?
Wow. Did the Canadian.
Tough crowd.
That is, if you're getting booed by Canadians.
Damn.
Yeah, I wrote a story talking about all the EVs and plug-in cars that were coming out in 2012. And I said, hey, Russell, you should talk about this article. And he said, only if you come on the show will we even mention it. So that was he blackmailed me, and it's been a lot of fun.
Blackmail? I mean,
yeah.
Maybe I begged a little bit. What?
Little. Yeah, you'd actually been asking me for, I looked 18 months to come on the show.
Was it 18 months?
Yes.
Oh, my God. Crazy.
Speaking of waiting for someone to stop coming around.
So it just took an appeal to your vanity to finally get you on, huh?
Right, yep.
So let's see, 2012, we had the Model X was unveiled. And in March of 2012, Coda released its first car, which I believe was the 1993 Sentra.
That was another car that sold about 12 units.
Yeah.
There's also another company that came on our show once and never came back.
Yeah.
Well, mainly because they went on a business. We were very nice to them.
Yeah, that was the one day they were in business, I think. Yeah. And later in 2012, in March, we had our 100th episode, and we were trying to remember why it was titled Volt Resistance. Not really sure where the title came from, whether it was a play on words, like a resistor, or not sure. But
I should go listen to it and figure it out.
Yeah,
you're gonna make me go look.
Yeah,
we'll have to on our Facebook page.
And let's see. So Toyota released the RAV4 EV. This was the second gen RAV4 EV, September of 2012. And if anyone remembers, this was actually a partnership between Toyota and Tesla. Then it was manufactured in the NUMMI factory.
It's Tesla inside.
Yeah, dare we say ill-fated partnership?
Yeah.
It's a cool car. It's too bad they didn't sell more of them.
It's an awesome car.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and they're out there. I mean, there's at least 12 in Colorado. So
yeah,
So
I think
both of them got a pretty good deal out of their partnership. Tesla got the NUMMI factory, and in exchange for a bunch of Tesla stock that performed really well, and Toyota has now sold it. So they both got a good deal out of it.
Yeah. And Toyota got compliance car credits for selling big trucks.
Yeah,
There you
that
go.
works.
Yeah.
So let's see, 2013. Let's say, a few things. The Fusion Energy plug-in, the Smart for 2, Gen 3 was introduced. The Spark EV 500e from Fiat. Let's see, the Cadillac ELR with the commercial that we all enjoyed.
Yeah.
If you're an asshole, you want this car.
Yes.
I still like that commercial.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Oh, you know what?
They were a cool car, even though they were marketed at douchebags. But the funny thing is, it had the highest depreciation of any EV, I believe.
Well, it had a ridiculous retail.
Yeah,
Oh, my
retail was
God,
like 88,000, and I saw one for sale with 3,000 miles on it, and we worked it out. It depreciated $26 a mile.
Oh, wow.
$26.09.
Ouch.
Not great.
So you get your full money back if you left it in the garage, right?
Like in 3 years, they'd give it to you for free, I think.
Yeah. Wow. So somebody earlier mentioned the Insight Gen 2, and it was discontinued in February of 2014. So we've last longer than the Insight Gen 2.
Which really isn't saying much, but
Right.
So is there a theme that Honda hybrids just don't sell well?
Honda doesn't do hybrids very well anymore.
Yeah,
I just don't think their heart's in it. I mean, since the original Insight was like this pioneering, amazing vehicle, but definitely a niche vehicle, they've kind of just, that's how we started Danny's Honda rant.
Yeah.
Mr. Cooper?
Yeah, I still miss that Echo.
I don't have that mixer anymore. But yeah.
You have to add it in afterwards or something.
Yeah.
Post edit.
Yeah. We'll put it in post. I'll CGI some dinosaur noises or something.
So let's see.
The Danny's Hunter rants, actually.
Well, if you come back on the show, we can do them.
Or like
Busy trying to catch a nap.
one every week that we could use.
Yeah. So let's see. 2014, the BMW i3 and i8 were introduced, and the Soul EV. And in 2015, the Bolt was announced. Only recently. Is it not even for sale yet? But is it this year? Next month?
Any minute.
This year.
Yeah.
Whenever fall hits is when we expect that. But Mark just posted a thing, didn't I see it, Mark, from you about sightings?
Yeah. Another sighting. So they're about to drop. Apparently,
they're leaking out somewhere.
Yeah,
and they're real. So
right. So that's
I'm
cool.
gonna guess it's out of a Detroit-shaped orifice that they're leaking out of.
Oh,
jeez. Why is everything orifices with you?
It's that medical training. I just like some kind of weird overlay there.
You come to my house and change as many diapers as I do, and you'll start talking about orifices too.
Yikes. So in July of 2015, we had Mr. Mark Coughlin on for the first time. He was a special guest. He was special.
He's still special.
Still.
Hopefully, like not Special Olympics special.
Yeah.
Oh, we had to go there, didn't we?
You Canadians.
Yeah. So the Mirai came out in August of 2015. No, well, it was introduced. I shouldn't say it came out, but the Mirai fuel cell was introduced, and the Model X first deliveries took place in September, exactly 1 year ago. The Gen 4 Prius was unveiled in Las Vegas, and good God, was it hot in September of 2015.
104 degrees.
Yeah, on the roof.
At night.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. It's brutal.
But it's a dry heat.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, when you're wearing a coat and tie, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No
You're still
doubt.
sweating like a pig. It just evaporates quickly. Yay.
Yay. And October 2015, the Gen 2 Volt was released. And it is a nice car.
There we go.
Yeah, they did a great job with that. The North American launch of the Gen 4 Prius was January of 2016. The Model 3 was unveiled in March of this year, and there was an awesome video, if you haven't watched it yet, that we did with the release. Prius Prime was introduced in April of this year. Coda was acquired by Exergonics Inc. So,
What exactly did they acquire, by the way?
I can't even imagine.
didn't we
bunch of
establish
used parts.
it was like Coda's battery chemistry or battery?
So it wasn't the blueprints to a 94 Toyota Corolla.
No,
I think it was a Camry.
Yes. And then the CRZ was discontinued in June. And that brings us to September 2016. Right now, our 200th episode.
It's actually October.
That's pretty cool.
Well, okay. September, October, September. Here, let me update the spreadsheet.
You did this in October. You did this in September.
I honestly thought we were going to do this last week or the week before.
Right. But
So-
then I took some time out and we, you know.
But one thing is cool how public perception of EVs has changed since 2010. I mean, in 2010, had you thought 400,000 people would shell out $1,000 for a car that doesn't exist, who would have saw that coming?
For an EV
Right.
For an EV, yeah.
that
yeah.
doesn't exist. I mean,
Exactly.
even, you know, even if Ford comes out with a new F-150 or something like,
Yeah.
you know, but an EV.
Yeah. So EVs are legit now, and people
What kind of
are-
brain dead
Because of
idiot?
us.
What kind of brain dead idiot gives Tesla $1,000 to wait for a car for 3 years?
Or
Raise
two.
your hands, panel. Come on. There we go.
For I gave 5,000 for almost 4 years for my Model S.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
I love all of you brain dead idiots. You're beautiful. That's wonderful. That's it. You know, I mean, the other side of that is, though, listen, people can say whatever they want about us or the show or what we talk about. There's people that put their money where their mouth is.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? There's nobody holding back, you know?
Yeah.
So
Tony,
cheers.
I do have to complain a little about your timeline. No, nothing about Fisker Karma on there.
Oh, you know what?
And
I can.
Faraday Future.
You're not even supposed to
Faraday
mention
Future.
that word on
I'm
the
so
show.
whipping dogs.
You should have
Um,
put the date of the Fisker commercial episode.
Oh, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Basically
I
us drooling.
Yeah.
I could probably find the email where I sent this timeline to everyone who's on the show right now asking for feedback.
You didn't get my response?
Oh,
My bad.
I love that. I love that. Well, and you know what?
Hear that Henrik is back at it. He just announced he's going to start a new car company. It's going to be all electric this time.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I hope it's run better than the last one.
me too.
Yeah, I'm sure he's learned a lot.
Who's running it? Nope.
So before we navigate away from the timeline, I do want to give a shout out mentioning the Tesla infused RAV4 EV. Of course, I want to give a shout out to our friend of the show, Tom Stengel, who along with a few of other of us proved that it was easy to do burnouts in the RAV4 EV.
Very.
Yes.
Gotta
Something
turn
like
on traction control and go to town.
oh my God.
Sport mode on, traction control off.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was, I think Cooper and I used that phrase a dozen times or so.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Mr. Cooper, who's been quiet and resting up for his big contribution, here we go. You know, as you know, if you've been looking at the Facebook page, or if you're a Prius Chat regular, Danny did have early access to the Prius Prime. So let me turn the mic over to him, and Danny, talk our ears off about Prius Prime.
All right. Good evening. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Danny Cooper.
Hi, Danny. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi.
It's not an AA meeting.
He's 103 years old today. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
So I got to drive the Prius Prime actually for the second time a couple weeks ago out in California at their press preview, and more importantly, they released a lot more details about it. They released package information, pricing information, range, and MPG. Now they had given out range, I guess when they first announced the car in New York, right back in March. They had given out the range as 22 miles. Yes, I am showing up. Given the range is 22 miles. They said it would have one of the highest MPGEs of any car, and they said it would have a cruising mileage total of like 600 plus miles. This is one of those situations where a manufacturer has actually under-promised and over-delivered. And I think it was very, very important that they actually did for the Prius Prime after the Prius plug-in was such a tepid. Well, it just wasn't a really solid attempt at making a plug-in. I guess is the best.
No, it was not. 11 miles is nothing to write home about.
So we went from 11 miles, and instead of 22, as they originally announced in March, we actually ended up with 25 miles of EPA range. Some of the more interesting stuff was actually that the MPG on the car is actually better than the standard Prius. Which I wasn't sure that would happen because of the weight of the car and whatnot, but they actually, it's better. It's 55 in the city, 53 on the highway, which that's a full 3 miles to the gallon higher on the highway than the standard liftback Prius, which is a decent pickup, and 54 combined. Now the place that they, again, they actually under promised and over delivered twice on this, and that's the MPGE number. Their original MPGE number that they gave us in our press kits was 124, which would have tied it, I think, with the i3 for the highest of any car. But they actually got back EPA certification yesterday, and it's 133 MPGE, which makes the Prius Prime the most efficient vehicle on the planet. So cool. Very, very interesting stuff. This is a much, much better car than the original Prius plug-in was. The Prius plug-in, I always like to point to Russell and his driving experience with it, that he couldn't even pull out of the parking lot with it. Because that thing, you had to feather the pedal on it. It was very difficult to keep it in EV mode.
And the other cool thing about the Prius Prime, in many places, if you can get the federal and state tax credits, there's not going to be a premium for it. Or almost no premium versus a regular Prius, which is pretty awesome.
Well, the pricing and packaging, I think, is one of the biggest pros to this car as well. But so you've got full EV acceleration from 0 to 84, 84 miles an hour. That's like full all the way to the floor. Wow. Acceleration is actually improved over the HV or over the hybrid model between 0 and 30. The acceleration curve is a little bit faster. Somebody out there is saying that the 0 to 60 on is 15 seconds or something ridiculous, but it's not that.
Wow, that's really slow.
Yeah, I don't know why the guy said that. He must have been like going up a hill testing it. But yeah, one of the two places that I think that the Prime has a real chance to make an impact in the market is with the way that they're packaging it and the pricing of it. So there are 3 packages on the Prime, which with the plug-in, the original plug-in, we had 2 packages. There was basically a $40,000 advanced model, and there was a $33,000 base model.
Now, were those actually called all and nothing?
Actually, all or nothing.
They were generally referred to as that. Yes.
Uh-huh.
The Prime has 3 packages. Starts with the Plus, goes with the Premium, goes up to Premium, and then the high end is the Advanced. There are no option packages. The Advanced is just everything. It's basically everything that's in a top end Prius except for the sunroof. There's no sunroof option with this car, and so the MSRP is, I think, the really interesting part. $27,100 for the Prius Prime Plus, which it's eligible for a $4,500 tax credit, and that brings it down to $22,600. So after the federal tax credit, and then in places like where Paul is in Colorado, as of January 1st, there's a $5,000 additional tax credit.
No one's going to buy a regular Prius.
No,
Right.
because
Yeah.
if you can get a $17,000 Prius Prime, why would you?
Yeah.
So there's 27 for the Plus, 28.8 for the Premium, which gives you leather, 3-door smart key, the big 11.6-inch screen that they put into the Prius Prime, several other features, and then the Advanced is the kitchen sink model, and that's $33,100. So you're talking with the federal credit, $22,600, $24,300, and $28,600 after that, the federal tax credit. That doesn't
and even less for you guys that moved to Colorado.
Yeah, yeah. And plus, I just got a notification from somebody on Prius Chat today that even though the cars are still on the boat, Toyota has already put a $500 cash credit on the Prius Prime. So they're already discounting it.
Wow. That boggles the mind that you would do a discount on a car that hasn't even hit the dealership yet.
Yeah.
Not really. Come on.
Really?
I mean, look at where are pre-sales. I think Toyota wants to make a splash, and I don't blame them for being aggressive. They price it aggressively for that reason.
But they need to discount the regular Priuses because no one's going to buy them when the Prime hits.
That might be their plan.
Yeah, maybe, but I'll tell you what, and saying it right here on the show, I was going to buy a Prius 4 with the packages, the ATP and the PCP, whatever, the advanced technology package and the performance.
You put something else.
You're doing PCP?
Package, yes. And a bag of weed.
And the MDA.
So you were going to Colorado.
Yeah. And I priced that out on the Buy a Toyota site and the Build Your Own Toyota, and that was $33,500. I was prepared to start haggling at the $33,500 price, and then now to see, as Danny posted on PriusChat.com, Prius Prime Advanced for $5,000 less with the federal credit.
Wow!
But I mean, that's just a brain dead no-brainer. I'm going to buy the Prius Prime.
They got to be planning to drop the price on the regular Prius because who's going to buy the regular Prius?
Well,
maybe they'll just
but
stop
remember,
making
there
it.
are some downsides to the Prime. There are 2 downsides to the Prime. There's the loss of the 5th seat in the back,
Right. Yeah.
which has been a big source.
And that's
of
important to
consternation
Tony.
in Prius Chat.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very important to Tony so that he can fit all his cats. And
Nobody knows.
his neighbor's cat.
And no spare tire.
Crazy cat lady.
No spare tire and a raised deck, so it's raised a few inches in the deck, which means you lose about 5 cubic feet of storage space in the back.
For cats.
Is it that much?
Yeah, it's 24 versus 19, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay.
24.6 versus 19.8, something like that.
But an average person hauling groceries isn't going to care about that.
No.
Not
But
at all.
if you're,
I don't
Not
think
if you're driving to the grocery
if you're
store
a taxi
back
driver
on
with
EV.
12 suitcases, you'll notice it.
But after
Maybe.
driving this and after seeing the way that Toyota is pricing it, it certainly does feel like if Toyota can re-engineer a couple things over the next couple of years so that at the mid-cycle refresh, they can put back in the 5th seat, and maybe battery density will be to the point where they can lower that cargo deck a little bit, they might get rid of some of the high-end packages on the Prius and have them be Prime specific. And really, I could totally see in the future there just being like the Prius 2, which is the base Prius, being the only traditional hybrid Prius, and the rest are plugins. And what's exciting about it is it's actually a good plugin. And that's what's pretty exciting about it to me. Because now that I've driven the Prius plug-in for 2 years, and I'm driving an i3 now, and I've had the opportunity to drive some other plug-in vehicles, I can objectively compare it and say that it is actually a good plug-in. It's not just a good Prius with some extra battery in it. It's a good plug-in car.
Why? I'll challenge you on that. Why is it a good plug-in? Why is it better than the Volt?
Well, see, it's hard to compare the Volt. It's hard to compare the Volt. The Volt has your increased range, so you get basically twice the range in a Volt. But you're looking at a $6,000 price difference between the Volt and the Prime. The Prime,
and you've got the Chevy stigma. I mean,
there's the bow tie.
A couple times a week, I say to people, you should look at a Chevy Volt, and they go, "I'd never buy a Chevy."
Right.
Like, because just because they put out shit in the 80s and 90s doesn't mean they're shit now. But a lot of people think that.
Well, there's the Prius Cache, that's for sure. They've got that going for it.
Yeah.
I think the passenger compartment is better designed than the Volt. And even though it's a raised deck in the Volt in the Prime still has more cargo space than the Volt does. So it depends on how you're cross shopping those vehicles. If EV miles is what 100% matters to you, then the Volt is your answer, and $6,000 be damned. But if 25 miles will get you to work, and you have the chance to charge at work, and then you can drive 25 miles home, then get the Prius Prime.
But I will tell you that I think what happens over time is that people that get a plug-in, they start to play the game. They enjoy the more EV miles, and as time goes along, you want more and more and more. And it's something that you may get disappointed with a lower amount when you know that there's something out there that could more than double that.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. And after having the 11-mile plug-in, that's exactly why my next car was still going to be electric, and it was going to get a hell of a lot more than 11 miles. And that's why I'm in the i3 at this point. But I will say that and this is totally just personal for me, most of my driving is always under 25 miles. And when I go over 25 miles, I would far prefer to have the comfort, range, and just general package efficiency and vehicle efficiency of the Prius versus the i3. The i3 is a pain in the ass to drive if you're driving more than 80 miles somewhere, even with the range extender.
Okay, Cooper, here's a question you can't answer, but I'm going to ask you anyway.
Oh, boy.
Do you think Toyota's artificially depressed the price of this vehicle? In other words, are they losing money on it to get it out there?
That's not the feeling I got. It certainly looks that way, though, if you look at the pricing. Otherwise, the pricing is kind of stupid.
Well, what I think will be interesting is if they do like a mid-cycle refresh and they get rid of the regular Prius and just make a Prime, they're going to have to dust off all their old marketing messages. You remember in the old days, like, you don't have to plug it in. And well, I guess you still don't have to plug it in. But.
Well, see, and that's kind of the one thing that, I was kind of waiting to see where the pricing on the Prime would be, and kind of, straddling the fence. And I've said many times, I have a one-car garage and a wife, which means I have no garage. And I'm not going to run an extension cord.
Your wife lives in the garage?
She does.
Wow, that's creepy.
Well, I let her come in to eat and clean. But
he needs Leaves room for the cats.
She's gonna beat your ass.
I was going to say, I'll let that sink in for a second. But the thing is, my commute is more than 50 miles round trip. 25 miles isn't going to do it for me. But I've kind of tossed it around in my head.
Yeah, but it's going to up your MPG.
And exactly. So here's what I'm thinking. I've actually, thought this through, and my plan is that I'm going to drive the Prime primarily in hybrid to and from work. But I take a lot of short trips around town, to the library, to the gym, to the microbrewery, to the police, to post bail, to all the different places that I go.
Back to the
after the microbrewery.
Yes. And those are the things that are going to be in EV mode, where I don't have to worry about the engine running and trying to heat up just to reach efficiency. So, yeah, I mean, technically you still don't have to plug it in, but it's great to have it when you need it.
Mark this conversation, because I want to come back to this about a month after Tony's had his car and see how he really does
me
it.
too.
I think you're gonna be jonesing for that pure EV as much as you can.
I know that I am, but I also know that I'm not going to kick my wife out of the garage every night just so I can charge my car.
Yeah, but you can charge it in the driveway too.
No, I'm not running an extension cord out to my car because I'm because the clowns are going to come by and unplug it.
Just back it in.
It is Illinois. I mean, there are clowns everywhere.
But you have a driveway, right? Or is it street parking?
No, it is a driveway. And didn't I tell you the story about my my engine block heater? I was running an engine block heater, and it snowed overnight, and the association snow removers came by shoveling the snow, and they ripped the cord out of my engine block heater, and it doesn't work now. I don't trust them with an EV.
All right.
I mean, you can argue all you want. I'm living my life. I know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, we'll find out later.
Well, and there are two kind of places that I think Toyota is going to have trouble pitching this car. They're going to have trouble selling it. And the first is to people like Evan, who no longer, dare I say, trust the Prius brand to be what they want out of a car anymore. Is that fair, Evan?
I wouldn't say I don't trust them to be that. They just haven't lived up to what they could be. And I don't think the Prime necessarily fixes that. It's a tiny baby step toward where they should be, but they've just been dancing around the facts that will bring them back to validating who they were, who they claimed they wanted to be with the Prius.
So I don't think that they're going to see a lot of interest from within the plug-in / EV community population that is going to be looking at this car. And then the second is going to be the education that Paul was alluding to, that for years they've pressed upon the fact that this is a Prius. You do not have to plug it in. It's education that they have tried for years to push. And now they're going to have to reverse that.
You can kind of sort of plug it in.
Yeah, I was with Russell about it earlier. That
unless your wife keeps all her shit in the garage.
Maybe it'll be you're going to want to plug it in.
Right. Yeah, you should plug it in.
But you don't have to.
Right, and I was
be a man and plug it in.
After posting something on the Prius Chat Facebook wall, one of the articles about the Prime, announcing that it got 25 miles of EV range, et cetera, et cetera. Somebody actually, I think a couple people posted something to the effect of, 25 miles isn't enough to get me anywhere. I don't want to be stuck somewhere after 25 miles, and I don't want to have to charge it every night. Well, I bet a majority of the plugins that were sold in California were never charged.
Yeah.
They were sold with the stickers. And I bet a big percentage of the cars in Colorado are going to be sold because of that $5,000 extra tax credit.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
But,
so,
maybe people will start plugging it in, if gas goes up and, yeah, we'll see.
Right. They might buy it because of the incentives or the sticker, but like Mark said, once you start driving on the electric, it's like, hey, I'm not paying for gas. It's so quiet and smooth, and maybe
My
they'll
hands
start
aren't
trying to plug
sticky.
it in a little more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gateway
you can
drug.
make a tank of gas. Yeah.
That's exactly it, Russell. It's a gateway drug.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where it's unfortunate Toyota doesn't have something to then move them into after they get that feeling. And maybe they do. Maybe they have something up their sleeve that we don't know about yet. But
They have the Mirai that takes you back to the pump.
That's the hallucinogenic drug.
That's the guy. So Cooper, I'm just quickly, if you would, or I don't want to say quickly, but I mean, you drove it. You got to drive it this time, not on a track, not with a stupid helmet. And I assume you got to go wherever you wanted or something. So, how does it drive?
thank you for the helmet comment first of all.
You're welcome. we put the picture of you in the helmet on the show. Okay, so
But wasn't it like a speed racer helmet or something?
yeah, it said Mach 5 on the side. Yeah,
It was a Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty. My daughter would have been proud of that. How did it drive? It drives really well under most conditions. There were towards the end of the battery, the journalist that I was driving with, we were going up a pretty steep grade, and he said, I didn't see it, but he said he had his foot on the pedal all the way down, and the Prime was like done accelerating. It was like, no, not going to do it anymore, which is something that would have been mitigated if it was in EV auto mode, which is one of the modes on the Prime. And for that reason, I actually think that Toyota should have made EV auto the default mode instead of EV the default mode, just so that you would always have 100% performance no matter what the circumstances were. As far as actual like highway driving and canyon driving, stuff like that, it actually, so there's like Gen 3 Prius is like down here where my microphone is. Fourth Gen Prius is like up here, as far as like there was a massive difference between the way a Gen 3 drives and the way a Gen 4 drives, 2016. And they've added more suspension tuning to the Prime, so it's actually even above where the fourth gen is. So
And it didn't feel tail heavy?
No,
Right. No, that's what I was thinking too.
that was something I was really concerned about and paid a lot of attention to, because that's the plug-in Prius felt very, very heavy in the back end. This one, it feels very even. Going through windy roads. All of my video review that I haven't posted yet was done on very windy canyon roads that I was probably driving too fast because I was driving down most of the time, downgrade. It performed really well, but then highway, it was very comfortable, very smooth. I was very impressed by it.
okay.
Yeah.
But there is the issue with tail end of the battery going up a grade. It needs to engage the engine at that point, which is why I think Toyota should have had the EV auto mode be the default.
But
Or at least when the battery's low.
Yeah,
you know why they didn't.
because of people like you.
Well, I don't know what I have to do with it, but because of
You engage the engine so easily.
well, I mean, not so much that, but because of people that would say, "Oh, it's just another effing Toyota," blah blah blah.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And by making EV the default, then they get their EV. You know
Yes,
what I mean?
and they can show off the fact that it's up to 84 miles an hour, 100% acceleration, blah blah blah.
And Danny, when you were on that upgrade, Danny, what was the speed you were going when you were topped out?
That's a good question. I want to say it was 50-ish. So it wasn't within like that 0 to 30 range where the Prime kind of excels from an acceleration range. It was on the, I think it was 50-ish. What else you got? Hit me.
Did they say what accounted for the improved fuel economy Just like I guess in hybrid mode, just for especially highway miles. I'm curious about.
It could have been motor size or something. I was thinking about that too.
No, they didn't really say specifically. If I had to guess, it's definitely not because of aerodynamics. The aerodynamics is actually worse. It's 0.25 on the Prime versus 0.24 on the 4th gen Prius.
Why's that?
It actually has to do with the way they styled it. They put styling over aerodynamics, and so
the front is
they made it a little sexier.
The front is crazy.
Yeah. And then if I were to guess, I would say it's because of the larger battery working in conjunction with the hybrid system to increase MPG.
I wouldn't think that would do it on the highway, though.
It's surprising if you watch, even on the highway, there are certainly times where when you're slowing down, you get some regen, you start going down a hill, you get some regen, and with the bigger battery, much more that's able to be absorbed.
So I got a headline for Evan here. In Jalopnik today, they say the 2017 Prius Prime is a high-tech pretend Tesla that gets incredible mileage.
Don't trust Jalopnik.
But they do say pretend Tesla.
Yeah. Which, let's be clear, though. I mean, this is not a Model S performance-wise.
No.
In any way, shape, or form.
It's
right. I understand. I'm not. I don't mean to say that Toyota's misrepresented the vehicle, but I mean, this isn't. This may compete potentially with a Model 3 at some level, but performance-wise, it's not supposed to be that vehicle at all.
So I'd have been all over this car 7 years ago.
I was going to say,
I mean, all over.
We all would have been.
Right. In 2010, this would have been great.
Well, let me ask you, Fusco, as a father of 3, as myself, what would the 2 seats in the back have done?
Yeah, well, that would have thrown it out. I think at least, now, so I think a little differently now when my kids are driving. I'm not as worried about that capacity and stuff because we always have another vehicle. But yeah, I don't know. It depends. I mean, it was tough enough fitting them in the Gen 2 Prius when I had 3. And so if at that time, the Prime would not have worked at all. But
Jalopnik says there's 28 lights on the front.
Jalopnik always focusing on the important stuff.
I will say that so those of you who have been around the Mirai, it's actually really well finished. It's like Lexus level as far as finishing goes. The Prime kind of has a lot of that feel to it. Like it's all LED lights in the front and the rear, backup light, turn signals. Everything is LED now, which the 4th gen Prius did not have. And the interior, they put that new 11.6-inch screen in, which I think will catch the eyes of a lot of people who are tech enthusiasts, right, which Prius has kind of ignored over the last several years. It used to be that the Prius was the leader as far as technology, and they kind of gave that up for some reason, and now they're pushing that back in, I think, with that large screen. But the interior of the 4th gen Prius was really, really, really well done. It's a fantastic interior. The exterior of the standard liftback Prius was very polarizing. You either liked it or you freaking hated it. And the Prime, I think, is more aesthetically pleasing on the exterior, and it still has that fantastic interior that the Prius brings. So
if they would have come out with this in December of 2010 when the Volt came out, it would have been it would have given the Volt a real run for its money. Right. Even though it has less electric range, it would have had a big Prius following then that would have been very excited about this.
I love this.
Boy, that big screen kind of looks Tesla.
Yeah, just this shot in Jalopnik. That's awesome.
Hey, it's the poor man's Tesla.
Yes, but is that fair? I mean, does Tesla now own a big screen in the middle of the dash? Like anything else that is copying them?
Vertically oriented that way with that kind of cluster around it. Yeah, they kind of do.
Really?
They don't own it, but come on, it's iconic now.
I think so. I mean, Tesla has steering wheels right in front of the driver, and look, the Prime exactly the same.
And their drivers don't even think you have to have your hands near them. So.
Only if Harry Potter's on the screen.
I mean, Tesla was the first to put a big ass screen in the middle of the car.
Yes,
right.
Yes, no, without a doubt. I'm not trying to take anything away from Tesla. I just don't know that I want to give them like forever. Anyone who puts a big ass screen in the middle of their dash now in 2016 is going to be copying Tesla.
Talking to Samsung smartphone owners.
Ouch.
So yeah, how many times on this show did we talk about crappy touchscreens and why is the auto industry so slow and why can't they just put in something cool? Like, we have these devices right here. We all know it's possible. So yeah, Tesla they were the innovators and leaders in that space, and I'm glad they're being copied.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
It's a nice system too. They did a good job with it. It's not like half-assed.
Good. Nice. Hey Cooper, any summary? Any final word on this thing?
Here's my final thoughts. Danny's deep thought for the evening.
God.
Jeez.
I think the Prius Prime is the best Prius that's ever been made, but I think it will not sell well. I don't think it'll be a commercial success.
Well, why? Despite the price, or because of the Bolt in the Model 3, or what?
Well, I think it's bad timing. I think it's bad timing when it comes to gas prices. I think it's bad timing when it comes to like what you guys have alluded to, that if this was years ago, they would have had a lot of core Prius people that were interested in buying it. Those people have now moved on. And I think availability is going to be an issue for the people who are interested in it because of the carbon fiber rear hatch being apparently difficult to produce. Like, basically the US is getting every unit right now, and Japan is having to wait several months to get theirs. And so I think production is going to continue to be a problem. If this becomes popular, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah. Hey, Denny, got a question for you. At any of your presentations, did they mention anything about updates, pushing over the air updates or anything for the screen or anything?
They did not. No one asked it either.
Okay.
And the answer to that question is going to be no.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, you can buy a new car.
Although Jalopnik shows someone has hacked the screen to play Galaga on it.
Galaga.
Not Pokemon Go?
No. 1980s.
Nice. Well, thanks, Danny.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you've driven it twice. Asshole.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Were you in a fully loaded?
Too.
Danny, were you in the fully loaded tech package one? I said?
Yeah. I drove the middle and the top end.
Okay.
Yeah, the top end package is really nice. It's got the color heads-up display,
which is beautiful.
Everything that's in the top end Prius except for the sunroof. So.
Okay.
I think it's going to sell. It's going to sell well in my household.
That's it.
I think it'll sell in Boulder because a lot of people want plug-in cars here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to do really well in the states that have additional incentives.
Did Toyota explicitly mention Colorado in their press stuff?
No, that has been a big conversation on Prius Chat, though.
Okay.
About that tax credit.
What?
It's in the first of the year.
Yeah, those first trucks should just drive straight to Colorado.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, they're actually going to the East Coast first. There's already VIN numbers that have been assigned to the East Coast.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's really where they've got to, I think you said it earlier today when we were talking. I mean, where the Prime, because of limited distribution of the Prime and the absolute horribleness of it, I mean, there's a lot of areas that have not seen anything but a hybrid Prius. So this plug-in could certainly make some inroads in some places. Could. I'm interested. I think it's interesting. You think it's going to fail.
Yeah,
it's going to flop.
I think it's unfortunate, but I think it's going to.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. I mean, it's $1.89 a gallon gas is a bitch, and and the fact that this is a very impressive vehicle. If you look at it as a total package, as a hybrid and an EV, it's a very impressive vehicle, but it's still like in a lot of basic measures, the Volt has twice the range. And a lot of people, the people who aren't scared by the bow tie are going to go, really?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I think Toyota is hoping that that's where price will kick in.
Right.
The Prime is going to have a lot of safety features that the Chevy, the Volt doesn't have in its base package. So I think it has a lot going for it. It's just, can they get people in the showroom to even to look at it?
Yeah.
Because even the regular Prius, they're not selling too many of them, right?
No. And I think, at least talking to salespeople, that has been a lot of an aesthetic problem with the exterior of the car. So
is it really?
Yeah. So I think the Prime will help with that.
I know the local dealer here is selling boatloads of the RAV4 hybrids compared to the Prius.
Well, and
we're in Colorado, so all-wheel drive
is. Sales of the RAV4 hybrid compared to the Prius V. The Prius V is basically in the grave at this point.
Yeah. Circling the bowl.
Yeah.
Which is too bad. It's a good car.
Yeah, it's a great car. The Prius V is a great car.
I would have thought maybe even the taxi industry would have propped that one up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They'll drive the RAV4.
Since John D isn't here, I'll throw out a little known fact about the Prime and the Prius V. The Prius Prime is the same length as the Prius V.
Is it?
Yes, they had to make it like 4 inches longer, I think, than the standard Prius. So.
That's interesting. Why? For the batteries?
Well, in the front, they added a 2 inches, I think, in the front with the new fascia stuff.
But is the wheelbase the same? Is it just cosmetic?
Wheelbase is the same. Wheelbase is the same. And then they I think it has. I don't think it has to do with like making room for the battery. I think that they had to reinforce the back end because of the batteries.
So you're saying the Prime's got back?
It's got back. It's got some extra
MPG.
Let's just say if you get into an accident, it's got some extra cushion for the pushing.
Nice. Well, I have to get one for my Anaconda.
Your Anaconda don't want none.
Thank you, Patrick.
Unless you've got batteries.
Oh, this is so not good.
Lost control.
Yeah. Mark's face kind of sums up what's going on in my brain right now.
I don't have my second drive review up of the Prime yet, but you can check out Prius Chat for my first review from when I got to drive it in Japan. My second review will focus more on kind of what Russell was asking about how it actually drove on real world streets, since the first time I only got to drive it on a track. So check it out there. There's a lot of conversation there as well. That's at priuschat.com.
So we should do an over-under on how many will ship in 2017. Maybe we can do that in our prediction show in December.
Wait, what's the number? 12. That's the number that's been tossed out on the show about several.
I think it'll at least triple the Mirai.
Wow. So 12.
12 times 3.
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to be very hard.
Not to get us more off track, but you know what's interesting? Talking to press people at like the Prime press event is they are really high on the Mirai. Like press people are really high on the Mirai.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know if it's because they're mostly California based or what, but they're very big proponents of the Mirai.
They've been snorting unicorn farts.
Yeah,
they've been drinking the Kool-Aid.
They're drinking the Toyota Kool-Aid.
You said it, Danny. They're high.
There it is.
They're just high.
Hydrogen.
I'm just passing along the information.
I honestly, even if you live in California, I don't get the Mirai. It doesn't make any damn sense. We've talked about that. I mean, I think it just goes back to petrol heads,
Yeah.
I want to be
Mirage.
I want to be pumping some kind of fossil fuel in the tank, or it's on a real car.
Right.
Because that electric stuff ain't real. But I don't know. Never driven it. No idea. Cooper, thanks for the deep dive on the Prius Prime.
Sure. And I'm always here for questions. If anybody has any, just let me know. You can find me over at Prius Chat.
PriusChat.com. That's PriusChat.com.
Where is that?
I don't know.
Last shop.
PriusOwnersGroup.com. Oh,
Hey.
Carswithcords.net.
yeah. There we go. Hijacking your brand. That's what we're all about. Well, let's start with let's get this show on the road. I should get the show on the road. Hell, we're done. Let's go through the shout outs because we're already running a little late, and we'll pick up. So we got some news items that'll carry over to next week. So check back with us next week for some more stuff on our friends Faraday Future. There'll be there'll be a little Tesla announcement that's maybe more personal than national, but still very important. What else? There's a Chevy thing, I think, something about unicorns and Chevys. I don't remember.
Big unicorns.
Yeah, big unicorns and some
size unicorns.
Yeah, and some Volt news. So check back with us next week.
And they found dinosaurs in Alaska. Well, liquid dinosaurs.
Yeah. That makes me sad, dude. I don't even want to. It just makes me sad. Shout outs, Cooper.
My shout out this week, since I plugged Prius Chat so much, is for my friend's site, PriusOwnersGroup.com.
Wow.
It's a great news aggregator of all things Prius, and he links to Prius Chat, so I appreciate it. So thank you for what you do, Russell.
You're welcome. I do. The check's in the mail. I owe you $10, don't I?
Probably.
Come to think of it, like $7 or something. Come to think of it, shit. Well, there you go. Now I owe you more. So, Mr. Coughlin.
Just follow us for Volt News at WR Voltech, and looking forward to our next show. Great show today.
Absolutely. Thank you for hanging in there, Mark. And are we going to see a new Twitter handle for WREVA or anything? Or
there is one. It's WREVA Group. So I'll get that on the bottom third at some point.
Absolutely. Wait. Don't tell me someone took WREVA already.
Yes.
You're kidding me.
Wow.
You're shitting me.
Someone from Wisconsin, I bet. Damn.
Cheeseheads.
Wow. I had no idea. Tony, you got anything?
I don't have much. I've been chatting back and forth, as I said before, with our friend Tom Stengel. And so I'm just going to give a shout out to Tom. And, of course, Philip Barclay, who keeps posting stuff to our Flipboard, What Drives Us on Flipboard. So,
cool.
Yeah. So shout out to those guys.
Yay!
Also, I do want to say an extra one for Tom, especially with the hurricane coming. Stay safe, stay dry.
It's nowhere close to him, but okay.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know it's actually it's closer to Russell, isn't it? Are you in the path?
No, it doesn't matter. I'm good, man. I'm waterproof.
Right.
Once you get everything that's been behind you, you'll be fine.
Yeah, it beads up on me.
He's prepared already.
Yeah, I got everything packed.
Onto that gold record for.
Yeah. I got everything packed. Okay, so it's fine. I'm not going. It's all in plastic.
You got a Michelin man there. He'll save you.
He
our new
is.
sponsor.
He is. I love that Michelin man.
I thought it was Mr. Stay Puft.
No. That's a Michelin man. I picked that up while I was on the road with Aerosmith. I don't even remember why. But let's just say alcohol was involved.
Yeah.
Okay. All I know is I woke up the next day in my hotel room, and on my nightstand was the Michelin man. And I was like, "Damn!"
Just
I think you stole it.
No. I actually have a receipt. I actually did buy it. Oddly enough.
That's what you have to say on the air. Yeah.
Yeah.
I stole it.
alcohol was what caused it.
Yeah.
Just say Stephen Perry was no, not Stephen. Steven Tyler was involved.
No, he was not involved. I'm not going there. Patrick.
Hello. So earlier you said that you haven't driven the Mirai, but you still have a lot to say about it. And I have not driven a thorium car, but I still would have a lot to say when we're coming out. So yeah, no problem with that. And I'd like to give a shout out to the Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find us at oeva.org, and we're on Facebook and Twitter and Google Plus and all over the place. There you go.
OEVA, one of the best follows. One of my favorites.
It is a good.
So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Mr. Evan.
Here.
Hey. I bet you
Hey.
have something to say.
So I'm up weird shout outs this week. How about? So they finally opened the Tesla supercharger in Rolla, Missouri, which is about halfway to St. Louis from where I live. And that has been a harrowing drive for all you people that say that there's no such thing as range anxiety. That was a rough trip in the winter in my car. So I'm very thrilled about that. And we're having a grand opening celebration there on Sunday. So if happens to be anybody listening that's in the general vicinity of St. Louis or Rolla or Springfield or Jefferson City, you're welcome to come down. We're meeting about 12:30 on Sunday. And then the other thing I just posted a link to, I will be dressing up like a medieval Henry V era, I don't know, battalion leader of some sort for an event called Days of Nights. That's in Frankfort, Kentucky. Starts next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Is that like medieval time?
Niggas.
So this is a very these guys are very OCD about being historically accurate in everything they do. This is not an SCA kind of deal. This is presenting history, facts, well researched, everybody costumed in very period appropriate clothing. And I'm going to be presenting about the siege of Harfleur, a battle that happened in 1415 during the 100 Years' War. Henry V attempting to reclaim what he thought was his birthright. And it should be a pretty good event. I've never been before. I'm looking forward to being both a spectator and a presenter.
So just to be clear, there's no clowns.
No, well, unless I count.
Some jesters.
There might be some jesters. Yeah, period appropriate.
Right.
Wow. I'm oh yeah. Okay. I was a century off. Hey, Paul.
As usual, I'll plug my own business, Boulder Hybrids, in Boulder, Colorado. Our website's boulderhc.com, and we fix and repair hybrid cars and EVs and all that kind of fun stuff. And I will mention, if you are a Colorado resident and you're buying a used plug-in car, buy it before December 31st because the current tax credits go away. If you're buying a new EV or a plug-in car, wait until January 1st because lots of cool stuff kicks in on January 1st. So, cool. Unfortunately, you got to be a Colorado resident. So
good advice. Yes, which only you are amongst this group, and many of us are in
listener community might be Colorado residents.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure we have lots of. I think Colorado is one of the few states I haven't pissed off yet. So,
and you don't want it because they have legalized pot. So
yeah,
right.
Yeah, everybody's mellow. Whatever he said.
Hey, Paul, how long do you have to be in Colorado to be a legal resident?
Yeah, I actually was wondering the same.
Yeah, it's more than a weekend.
Okay.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
So like
UPS stores
you have to like be a resident for tax purposes. So I don't know how many days of the year, but I'm sure it's more than a couple weeks.
Does a PO box count?
No.
Not if you're not earning money and paying taxes in Colorado. It doesn't.
No.
Darn it.
But you could form a corporation in Colorado, perhaps, and claim it somehow. But you'd have to talk to a CPA. I don't know the rules.
Paul is not a legal advisor.
I'm not giving you legal advice.
Yes. He does not play one on television.
Do you sell franchises, Paul?
There we go. Well, I'm going to
Saul.
Yeah, there you go. I'm going to run through some quick announcements so that we can get the heck out of here before it gets too late. If you own a Prius and you need accessories or fun stuff for your car, be sure to visit Prius Shop for all your accessory needs. You can find that at priuschat.com/shop. That is one more time, and I'm only going to say it one more time. Listen carefully. priuschat.com/shop. These little gestures, they mean something. So, trust me. There are two ways you can look over our virtual shoulder. First, we have a Facebook page at facebook.com/whatdrivesus. Very important. You can leave comments, suggest news items, or just like the page. Also, we use Flipboard as a news aggregator. Be sure to subscribe to our What Drives Us magazine. You can also visit our main site, which is whatdrives.us. We post every show in audio and video format, and we post all of our links to our news stories. In this case, there's going to be links to Danny's in-depth Prius reviews and the videos that he's posted so far. So definitely visit whatdrives.us. Streaming options. You know, this is Tony makes it sound good. So I'm just going to say, if you never want to make sure, if you want to make sure you never miss a show, subscribe to the show on Stitcher, Slacker, YouTube, Google Play, or iTunes, or maybe all of them. Most importantly, I mean, this is, I want to thank everybody here who's been such a huge part. You know what I mean? Danny and I probably want to thank. Danny, do you have some final words there on show 200? I don't want to be the only rambling idiot.
No, I mean, I just think that it's listening to Tony go through that timeline today was really fascinating. I didn't realize how, like, on the front edge of this thing that we were at the time, and so it's been amazing to see it all evolve in front of our eyes. And I think when we started the show, I didn't even have any children. So.
Were all three of your children born during the show?
Definitely.
Yeah, so it's been a fascinating 6 years, and I can't wait to see where the show goes in the future.
Yay! I agree. And I want to thank people who make this show so. I mean, these people here in front of you that you can see, the blinking guy from Canada, Mark, is huge and supportive. Tony, same thing, behind the scenes, doing stuff like the timeline, doing all kinds of scripts and stuff, just keeps things going. Patrick is like, does all the social media heavy lifting that I would just ignore, because that's the kind of guy that I am. So why we have like an awesome Facebook account, why we have a Twitter feed at all, because we've had one for years, but I never posted on it. Patrick takes care of all that for us. So Evan, well, I mean, you know, he brings the Tesla snark, so, you know, God love him for that, right?
I prefer to think of it as bringing more snark than just Tesla.
Thank you. Okay, and the general snark, and of course, Paul gives us a little bit of technical legitimacy. You know what I mean? Like, Paul actually. He actually knows how this shit works and goes together. Yeah, the rest of us look at it on videos and YouTube and go, "Ooh, that hybrid battery looks dangerous. I don't want to touch that." Paul's in there going, "Oh, whatever." I've seen him do it. It's weird. So, seriously, you guys, thank you for 200 episodes, for your contributions. That's just amazing and huge. Deep breath. Thank you to all of you, most importantly. Thanks to Michael Mannering. As always, visit him at manthing.com. Michael, thank you so much for doing another special little recording for us, which, like all the panelists, you've never been paid for. We played your song 400 times, and we've never given you a damn dime. I love you, my friend. That's all I can say. Thank you. A Grammy-nominated musician. Yeah, nah, just give us stuff for free. So, Michael Mannering, thank you. And most importantly, above it all, I mean, we would probably do the show without viewers and listeners. Maybe, I don't know. But we've speculated on that.
I thought we were doing it without viewers.
Yeah, well, good point.
At least the first 50 shows.
Yeah. But I mean, thank you for all of your comments. Thank you, everybody who watches, everybody who listens, everybody who posts on Facebook or responds to a tweet or whatever. Thanks for being involved. It's really awesome. And it gives us a chance to do something we all love, which is talk about this stuff, because we really do. Everybody here loves it. As weird as that may sound, that's who we are. So thanks for giving us a chance to be that. That's it. I'm going to say, as always, download us next week and find out what drives us.
Thanks, everybody.